itself as one of the leading personal injury law firms in the South Florida area. They give all their personal injury clients a promise. If they don't recover monetary damages in your case, you will not pay any attorney's fees. Shane M. Farnsworth, VA, offers a free consultation to evaluate your legal case. If they take your case, they only get paid if they win. Whether you've been injured in a motor vehicle crash, slip and fall, workplace accident.
I'm all right, hanging in there.
How's the family through all this virus stuff?
They're doing good. We're staying healthy, social distancing. So I think my daughter wanted to say hello to you maybe later.
Oh, I'd love that. So tell me, how are you handling cases now?
Well, it's been a bit slow, but the stuff that we do have going on, a lot of times when we have to, talk to clients, we'll either do it, via telephone, or we've also been utilizing Zoom lately. So you can, see the people in video conference. And that's one of the ways the courts are conducting hearings now, either telephonically or, you can use Zoom occasionally. So, trying to use technology to keep everybody distant and safe. So,
Well, before we get started and I want to introduce you, I want to know, what are you going to do without baseball this year?
well, it's not looking good for our baseball trip at the moment, that's for sure. So I
No,
don't know how that's going to play out. I have a friend who's
Shane does a
a hitting
visit.
coach
Yeah,
in
Shane
the
does a
Pirates
visit to
organization,
different
and
stadiums.
yeah, so I have a
Well,
friend who's a hitting coach, and he's not sure what's going to happen. So,
well, tell everybody first of all, you're a personal injury attorney, and that means there's a lot of things that involves. Tell people first of all about your firm.
yeah, we're located in downtown Delray Beach. We're across from the IPIC Theater. So if you know where that is, my building is across from there. I've been there practicing since, I've been in that building since 1999, but practicing since 1998. We're a small firm. We do primarily personal injury actions, everything from car accidents to slip and falls, all different kinds, pedestrian accidents, bike accidents, tractor trailers, anything involving negligence.
I had a listener who's been with us for a long time had a question that now that these states are thinking about opening up, what if somebody gets a virus from someone who's just opened up? Is that a they want to know, is that a personal injury case?
Well, it possibly could be if you can show that the people that opened up were negligent in the way that they did it, and as a result of that, you contracted COVID, and you have damages as a result of that negligence. So it's a possibility. I've heard people talk about that as well. It'd be interesting to see how that develops as time goes on.
Well, today we're going to talk about slip and falls. That's just one portion of your business. Would you say your biggest business is clients who've been in an automobile accident?
Yeah, automobile accidents are the most common, but we've been doing the show now for a couple of years, and I was looking back and seeing when was the last time we discussed slip and falls, and it looked like it was in January of 2019. So I thought it might be a good time to address that again. We normally talk a lot about the car accidents, so I thought we'd do something a little bit different this month.
Well, so our slip and fall, is that a very common part of your practice?
Yeah, they happen quite a bit. I was curious myself. I went on Google to see how common slip and falls are, and the information I found is that there are about 8 million emergency room visits per year in the United States, and of those, about 12% are related to slip and fall accidents. So mathematically, that works out to about a million a year. So they are fairly common. Yeah.
Wow. I tell you what, the grocery stores are really concentrating now on, for example, Publix. There are arrows now. I mean, which way you can go down the aisle and which way you can't go down the aisle. And I mean, they're really on top of it. Where do you see most of your slip and fall cases at?
Well, you see them all different places. I mean, I see them in grocery stores. You have a lot of times, um, you know, situations like in the fruit and vegetable aisle where somebody will drop some grapes or different something, and someone steps on it or runs it over with a cart and gets smushed into the linoleum, and people slip and fall there. Or big box stores like a Walmart or a Target, somebody's looking at a bottle of shampoo or something else, they drop it, it spills in the aisle, and people slip on it, or they're setting up a display, and they leave stuff in the aisle that shouldn't be there, and people fall, trip and fall on that. So those are fairly common things that pop up.
Do stores normally take a picture, like you said, like there's shampoo that falls off the shelf, breaks on the floor, someone slips on it. Does the store take a picture of that, or are you supposed to take a picture of that?
Well, if you're going to slip and fall on it, that probably means see it, and the store didn't see it prior. Hopefully, the store didn't see it before you got there. Um, but normally, what will happen with stores is a lot of them have a protocol where they'll go around and have safety checks at different intervals of the day to make sure that those things aren't happening, to try to avoid people having those issues.
I remember seeing a lady fall off a stool at a bar. Is that considered a slip and fall?
Not sure I call it a slip and fall, but I mean, there's different categories of injuries that, for example, a slip and fall is generally if you have, something slippery on the ground, obviously, there's trip and falls, which, there's an item or object in the way, or there's also step and falls. If you're walking down a walkway and it's uneven and you step into a hole, or it's cracked and you trip on it. So there's all different sorts of things. If the stool broke and you fall off the stool, I wouldn't put it in the slip and fall category. But if you were injured and the stool wasn't maintained in a proper way, that would be a negligence claim, which would fall under the umbrella of a personal injury action. Yes.
Here's a text that just came in. They want to know, what if you trip on a mat in front of the door?
Well, that can be a tricky one. I actually had a case similar to that. It depends on whether or not the mat is placed there properly, what the purpose is that it's placed there for. Um, you know, Whether or not something is reasonably done, a lot of times in a slip and fall case can result in a long process of trying to show that. And a lot of times you may have to even hire an expert to come in and give an opinion as to whether or not, the situation was a dangerous situation that should have, been taken care of. So it really depends.
And are homeowners covered or business owners covered if, especially homeowners, if someone trips in their yard on the cement on their driveway?
Generally, yes. If you have insurance, it would cover that. The question really becomes whether or not the owner knew about it, and could have prevented it. With a homeowner, it's a different standard than a business owner. As a homeowner, you have a duty to keep your home in a reasonably safe manner. You can't if you know of something that's a dangerous condition. If Steve's coming to my house and I know there's a hole in my sidewalk, I have a duty, and he's walking up the sidewalk, to say, "Hey, Steve, watch out for that hole." And I also have a duty not to create dangerous situations. When you are a business, you have an affirmative duty to protect your customers. So you have more responsibility as a business than you do as a homeowner in terms of warning and protecting the people who come to visit.
So, but property owners are required to keep their property safe. So if you've got
Yes.
a crack in the cement, you better fix it, because if someone trips on it, I mean, you're liable,
Here's the
right?
difference. Yeah, well, if you're a homeowner, um, and somebody trips, you could be held liable for if you knew about it and you didn't fix it. But if I warn you about it, that may be sufficient. Whereas if I'm a business and I have either actual or constructive notice of that crack, actual notice meaning what it sounds like, I see the crack, or constructive notice has been there so long that I should see it, or I have, like I was talking about safety checks where you go around and check and somebody should know it's there and you don't take care of it. As a business, you would have a duty to affirmatively fix it, whereas as the homeowner, I would more or less have to let you know that it's there.
So a property owner is always responsible if
Not
there's an
always. You're
injury on
not
the property.
responsible for if it's a fall that you couldn't prevent, then you wouldn't be responsible for it. For example, I had a case recently where the owner of the property, it turned out they had rented the property, and we found that out later on down the line. But my client went there to give a quote for a painting job, and they had just mopped the floor, and they didn't say anything to him, and he slipped and fell and broke his wrist. So, you know, the owner, when we sent them the notice, they're taking the position that, hey, it was the tenant. We didn't mop the floor. We couldn't have prevented it, which, we're still legally trying to find a way that we can get some liability there. But that's an issue where the owner, they weren't responsible for it. So if they're not responsible, then they probably don't have liability.
We're going to go to break. Shane, give everybody your phone number. You might not be at the office, but you're answering the phones.
Well, we're actually there, and law offices were deemed essential businesses, so we are there. We're not generally having people come in for the most part, but if you call, we will be there. The number is 561-441-7013, or you can go to our website at farnsworthlaw.net and visit us there as well.
And I just want to say this, Shane, customer service is a priority for your firm.
Yeah, we're a small firm, and a lot of our business comes from people that we previously represented, and they refer people to us. So we take great pride in giving good service and making sure that people are taken well care of when they come to our firm.
I wanted to say that because there's people out there who went to these big firms, on the buses and on TV, and they felt like they were just a number. And that's not how it is at your firm.
No, you get personal attention when you come there. It's myself and my assistant. So when you come in, you're going to meet with me. I have people come in a lot that initially sign up with larger firms and they've never met with an attorney. They meet with the paralegal and they get signed up and they have to call to ask what's going on, and they're not kept informed as to the process or what to expect. And a lot of times I find that frustrating. On the bright side, it works out well for us because they leave that larger firm and they'll come to us for the service that they expect. And, we're pretty good about providing that. And like I said, we do that with pride because we know that if we do a good job for that person, they'll hopefully send us, people that they know that may be involved in legal proceedings later on down the line.
Well, it's great because you've got such a great reputation. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll come back with more with attorney Shane Farnsworth.
As an experienced personal injury attorney, Shane Farnsworth understands the key to success in your case. You are entitled to compensation for your injuries, medical bills, lost wages, and personal loss. Mr. Farnsworth will go to trial if you are not offered the fair settlement that you deserve. The law offices of Shane M. Farnsworth, VA, has established itself as one of the leading personal injury law firms in the South Florida area. They give all their personal injury clients a promise. If they don't recover monetary damages in your case, you will not pay any attorney's fees. Shane M. Farnsworth, VA, offers a free consultation to evaluate your legal case. If they take your case, they only get paid if they win. Whether you've been injured in a motor vehicle crash, slip and fall, workplace accident, or through the negligence of someone else, you need attorney Shane Farnsworth fighting on your side. Call now for a free consultation. That's 561-272-8337.
And we are back. The show is Ask the Experts. I'm host Steve O. We are on every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7. I hope soon this will be drive time home from work. Maybe the governor's going to start opening more things up. I wanted to say something because Shane, there's people out there who think, like my son did. We talk about this all the time. My son is a great salesperson. I will give him credit for that. So his wife had an injury, and instead of hiring an attorney, he said, "Let me handle this." He was a big shot. He thought he was, he could get more money. He was going to save money from hiring an attorney. And I got to tell you, he got $1,000, and he will tell you today, if I would have hired an attorney, it would have probably been seven or eight or $10,000. What I'm trying to say is, don't try to do this yourself. I mean, Shane, you don't. If you have an injury, give you a call. Don't try to decide, should I try to save money? Because explain to people how you get compensated.
Yeah, if you call us with a personal injury case, we give a free consultation. This doesn't cost you anything to call and talk to us and get some information. But we also use what's called a contingency fee contract, which means if we don't recover any money for you, it doesn't cost you anything. So if we do recover money for you and we recover it prior to filing a lawsuit, we get a percentage of what we recover, 33 and a third percent. If we have to file a lawsuit, that then becomes 40%. That contract's governed by the Florida bar. So regardless if you hire me or the guy on the billboard or the side of the bus, we use the same contract. That's the fee structure that there is. And, if with that being the case, it simply doesn't make sense for you to do it yourself. I mean, I know, Steve, you had knee surgery recently. You probably could have saved money if you did it yourself. Would that have been a good idea? Probably not, right? So,
Very good. Yeah, I could have done it myself. Um, no, but there's people out there who think they can do this themselves. How long have you been practicing for?
I've been practicing 21 years, so quite a
So
while.
you've got the whole checklist. I mean, you know what you can get. You've probably seen everything. Whereas an individual going in for the first time, I'm telling you right now, if you're in an auto accident or a slip and fall, give Shane a call because you never know. And the consultation is free. And now with the virus, you can do it right over the phone.
Over the phone or, like we're doing right now, a video chat. We can do it through Zoom. Doesn't cost anything. I have an account with Zoom, and you can do it for free on Zoom anyways. But I have an upgrade account, so if we have a meeting that's going to take over an hour, we can do that. Not that it should, but so yeah, if you want to do it over the phone, that's fine. But if you want to see my face and that makes you feel more comfortable, we can do it by Zoom at this point as well.
So tell me what kind of damages you can get when it comes to slip and falls.
Well, there's a few different things. There's your medical bills. If you're injured and you have to pay for medical care, that you should get reimbursed for. For pain and suffering. For the injury the way it affects the quality of your life. Sometimes if you're married, there may be a loss of consortium claim if it affects the relations you have with your partner, and so there's all different sorts of things. But yeah, those are all available just like they are in a car accident or any other personal injury action.
So, how does if you have to go to court, how does a judge? Is it a judge or is it a jury trial?
Most of the time, it's going to be a jury trial. I'm not very many personal injury actions are a bench trial where it's just a judge. Almost always it's a jury trial.
Okay. And how do they know about what kind of value to put on someone's injury?
Well, when you go to trial, you're going to present your evidence, and based on the evidence, the plaintiff's attorney who represents the injured person is going to ask the jury that, hey, based on the medicals, what we think the future medicals are going to be, the pain and suffering, we think you should award X amount of money. Now it's the jury that makes that decision, and obviously the defense attorney is going to stand up there and probably say the direct opposite of what I say. But that's how the jury, they weigh the evidence and they make a decision as to what the damages are, and that's how they reach an amount for an award.
Shane, what do you know? Sometimes you hear about people that were injured and then it flares up a year later or 2 years later. Can they be compensated for that?
You can, with negligence actions in the state of Florida, the statute of limitations is 4 years. So from the day of the accident, you have 4 years to file a lawsuit. The issue becomes if don't go to the doctor after you have the slip and fall, and a year later you're having issues, and then you go talk to an attorney. There isn't anything medically that would, unless you were treating initially at least, there isn't anything that you have that you can say, okay, well, this is related to that accident. So it makes it more difficult to prove that your damages were foreseeable and related to the slip and fall that they caused. It's always better if you're injured to get to the doctor and get treated. That way, the doctor, they know why you're there. You're there because you had a slip and fall, and they can attribute the injuries that they're treating you for to that. If it's a year later down the road, it's more difficult for a doctor to do it. It's easier for an insurance company to say, well, you fell a year ago. How do we know something else didn't happen in the interim, that you haven't fall somewhere else or have some other sort of issue that actually caused this and it's unrelated to the slip and fall. So the sooner you get treatment if you're injured, the better.
So when you fall in a store, they usually take down the information. There's a injury form. Is that correct?
Most of the time, yeah. And if you fall and they're not offering to do that, you need to ask to get somebody to fill out the paperwork to show you were there and what it was that happened, and to get it in writing. So if you just leave and you don't have it, people may forget or not want to remember that you had that slip and fall in their store. It's more difficult to show. It's analogous to, we always talk about when we're talking about the car accidents, do not leave the accident scene. Call the police and get a police report. That at least gives you, you know, a base to start to show that this happened, and to argue about what took place.
If someone slips in a store, when should they contact you?
The earlier you're represented, the better. Two reasons. One, just like with a car accident, once you're represented by counsel, the insurance company is not allowed to talk to you directly. They have to communicate through your attorney. So that prevents the insurance adjuster, who's trained to try to save the company money, from talking to you and possibly getting you to say things or do things that might compromise the value of your case later on down the line. The other thing is, the sooner you have an attorney involved, especially in a slip and fall, the sooner they can start to prepare the case. Because anytime a case comes into our office, even though most cases do resolve prior to trial, you have to take the approach that this is going to trial and prepare as if that's going to be the case. So the sooner you hire an attorney, the sooner they can start gathering information, gathering facts, if there's witnesses, talking to witnesses, those sorts of things. As time goes by, the longer it takes for you to hire someone, those witnesses sometimes disappear into the woodwork, or don't want to cooperate, or the condition of the store changes and you don't have what it looked like when this happened. So the sooner the better.
Should you get people's names that, like, if you fall in an aisle, should you try to get someone's name who saw you fall?
Yeah, once again, just like we talk about with the car accidents, if there's witnesses, get their names and phone numbers. Uh, a lot of times people are hesitant to get involved. People aren't usually super thrilled to get a subpoena to come have their deposition taken. But if it's somebody who truly did see you fall and they see that you're injured, if you ask them right away, they're probably more likely to have empathy and want to give you that information than somebody wanting to be involved later on down the line. So, yeah, you definitely should get that information if somebody did see it.
That's good to know because a lot of times you hear people don't want to get involved. And I think sounds like if you get their name right away and they saw you fall, that at least that they would speak up for you. Um, Tell everybody, we always like to end the show with tell people why I should retain you if I'm injured.
Well, we talked about it a bit earlier. Um, you know, when you come to our firm, you're going to get personal attention. It's not like going to a large firm where you never meet the attorney. When you come in, you're going to meet me in the first visit. We're going to talk about your case. Once we're retained, our office is going to be in touch with you. Anytime you need to speak to me, you can call. I'll be available. I always tell you, if you call us before noon, we'll get back to you that day. If it's afternoon, most of the time it will be that day, but it might be the following morning. But we are going to be responsive. We're going to stay with you throughout the entire process and keep you informed so you know what's going on.
Give everybody your phone number and your website, Shane.
Sure. 561-272-8337, and the website's farnsworthlaw.net.
And we will have today's show up towards probably the end of this week. And we've got all the shows up there, so you can go back and look at past shows. And I want to thank the people who've texted us today. That was something new. Shane, stay well. We'll see you again next month.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Ask the Expert Show, featuring interviews with local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Call our office at 888-574-6999 to become one of our experts on the show. And tune in again next week for more Ask the Experts with Steve-O. The opinion